Welcome, Japanese woodblock print collectors and enthusiasts. Since I've been in the gallery business, some of the most common questions I get are,
My family member just died, and I found these Japanese prints. What are they, and are they worth anything?
or
Hey, I just bought this Japanese print at a garage sale. Is it original, and who is the artist?
these are great questions, but unfortunately not simple ones to answer. Since woodblock printing was introduced to Japan from China in the 1600s, there have been millions of different print designs, thousands of artists, and hundreds of publishers. So identifying and dating a Japanese woodblock print can be quite confusing. I myself continually run into difficult cases. But in this video, I'm going to walk you through the main things to look for, the online and offline resources that can help, and some practical steps that you can use to learn more about your print. Oh, and I'll include a link to my list of recommended resources in the comments section and at the end of this video. The first question we need to answer is, do you have a real woodblock print and not a modern reproduction or a painting? First, let's eliminate paintings. A painting will usually show visible brush strokes and variations in ink thickness and opacity. Also, it may be painted not on paper, but on silk. And that's all the guidance I'm going to give you there. So assuming you're pretty sure you have a print, let's continue. If your print is in a frame, you should remove it so you can examine both the front and the back of the print. Do this very carefully because you're not only dealing with sharp things like nails and glass, you also have the potential to damage the print when you remove it. This is especially true if there's a beveled mat in front of the print, because it could be glued onto the print and it may rip it if you try to forcibly remove it. You also hope that the back of the print has been attached with archival tape. But what I often find is that the print has been solidly glued down to a thick backing board like this. And if this is the case, I don't recommend you trying to remove it. You'll just have to evaluate the print from the front. And later, if you decide you want to remove it from the backing board, look up an art restoration specialist in your area. So let's assume you've removed the print from the frame. Here are some ways you can tell if it's a modern printed reproduction or a real woodblock. If it looks like it's printed on thin white paper with flat or glossy inks, it's probably a modern reproduction and not a woodblock. Real woodblock prints were printed on a special handmade Japanese paper called washi. The paper is usually thicker and has visible fibers and/or patterns you can see if you hold the paper up to the light. Another check is to use a magnifying glass or your phone to take a close-up photo of the front of the print. If you see a dot pattern like this, then it's definitely a modern reproduction and not a woodblock print. Assuming you can see the back of your print, check for ink bleed through like this. You can see that some of the colors are bleeding through the back more than others. And compare this to a modern print where all the colors will look uniform. Also, look for circular looking marks made by the baron rubbing the paper down onto the woodblock. If the back of your print shows these marks, it's probably a woodblock print. A real woodblock print may even have embossing, raised areas, or burnishing effects that make certain areas shiny, so you can look for that as well. After all this, if you don't have a real woodblock, the good news is you can display it anywhere in your home or office without worrying about sunlight damaging it, and you can just enjoy the art. Let's assume your print passes those tests and you're pretty sure you have a woodblock print. The next step is identification. The easiest and quickest way to identify your print is to take a decent photo and upload it. Side note, here are some of the photos of prints that people have sent me. And I can work with them, but ideally you should take a clear photo from directly above the print and try to square it up in your camera so the print is not angled. And while you're at it, take a photo of the back of the print. You never know, you might need it. Now that you have a good photo, here are a couple of online search tools I like. Google image search is of course amazing. Upload the photo of your print and check the results. It will show your image in the top panel and the results below it. It will also show similar and related image results. You want to click on the one in the top left where it says See Exact Matches. This will pop up all the exact matches from a variety of sources that includes galleries, museums, art shops, eBay, universities, and a bunch of questionable links. As you can see, I got a lot of results with this image since it's a popular print. Anyway, click on the results that link to major museums, galleries, and databases. So I'll click here, and I can see legitimate information from the Art Institute of Chicago. Then visually compare your print against what you found. This part is like the kids' game, Spot the Differences. Does your print look the same as the print you found online? The primary thing to compare is the location of the artist's signature, publisher's marks, and censor seals. Check and see if yours match the ones on the print. These are probably the most important since they can really help establish the publishing date. The coloring of the print is another thing you can compare, but printers did experiment with different color variations and many inks fade and change color over time, so I'm not going to tell you to rely on that factor. Another great online resource is ukiyo-e.org. They have over 223,000 prints in their ukiyo-e dedicated database. Once you upload your image, I'll pick the same print and then click on the Search by Image button. You'll get matches from multiple collections. Once again, it's up to you to compare your print with the results. So if you have a matchup on the signature, seals, and publisher marks, then you can be pretty sure you have this version of this print by this artist printed on this date. I may be making this sound too easy. Identifying some prints can be quite confusing, even if you can match up the publishing marks. For example, the Watanabe Publishing House used different size publisher marks that to the naked eye looked the same, but were actually from different times. And some publishers made modern reprints but copied the old publishing marks and seals. So there's a bit of a Wild West factor in there. Ideally, you'll want to get 2 or 3 examples that match your print. And don't be discouraged if you don't find a print that looks exactly the same. Maybe it's a print version that's just not indexed online. With millions of prints, some definitely fall through the cracks. And this leads me to my next topic: alternate ways to identify prints. I recommend you join online woodblock print communities. I belong to several decent Facebook groups. Also, Reddit has a solid ukiyo-e community. There are usually some helpful resident experts who will comment on your print if you ask nicely. Another option is to reach out to a Japanese print gallery. Many gallery owners are happy to review artwork and share their opinion. They may be even interested in buying the artwork from you. Auction houses usually have Asian art specialists who can review artwork for authenticity and value. And of course, there's reference books, which are invaluable for details on publishing dates, print versions, and historical insights. To sum up, identifying and dating a Japanese woodblock print is like forensic detective work. Rule out modern reproductions. Take good photos of your print. Use online search tools. Look for the key clues, like the publisher marks. Then reach out to experts to confirm what you find. The discovery is a journey, and you'll be amazed at how much you can learn about your print's artist, the culture that produced it, the story behind the image, and even its potential value. Thanks for watching. I put a blog post on the Mia Gallery website with a list of helpful resources and links. If you've got a print you're curious about, feel free to let me know in the comments or share it with one of the online communities I mentioned. You never know, you might have discovered an original artistic treasure. Happy collecting!